Welcome to this video. Today I want to talk about VPN services versus Tor, and a lot of people ask which is better, which one's better to use, and to me, in my opinion, that's like asking whether a car or a boat is better. It depends on the situation and what your goal is that you're trying to achieve. For example, if you're trying to cross a body of water, obviously you want a boat. If you're trying to cross a body of land, you want a car. In some situations, you may need both, and we'll talk about that as far as using both options together. But basically, again, when it comes to a VPN service versus Tor and answering which is better, it depends again on what the situation is and what your goal is, what it is that you're trying to accomplish. When focusing on Tor itself, here's a couple pros. First off, it's free. VPN services generally are not, and the free VPNs that are available either are shady or run a higher risk of data collection. With Tor, you don't have to worry about any of that, it's just free. Additionally, when it comes to anonymity or the user wanting to remain anonymous, nothing does it better than Tor. That is the entire purpose of Tor. That is what is built around, and it does a very, very good job of keeping its users anonymous. Those are the benefits or pros of using Tor. Now, some cons can be, number one, it can be very slow. Because it's bouncing your traffic around to keep your identity concealed, that comes at a price, and that price is performance. Tor is very, very slow. Additionally, you will notice that some websites don't always function properly. This is due to the way Tor works, as well as security features. What it will do is disable some functionality in websites for security reasons. And so when you go to certain websites, they either just won't load or certain parts of it will not function correctly. Also, in some areas, depending on where you live, depending on your country, your access to the Tor network may be blocked. And so those are some cons. Additionally, I should note, however, and this is kind of a big one because a lot of people think that they are invincible when using Tor. You have to understand that when your data is being bounced, it goes through several different nodes. Usually it goes through 3. And that last node, when it exits, is called an exit node. At that point, your data is no longer encrypted. And so a bad actor could potentially gain control of a node, an exit node, and possibly intercept your communications. And again, like I mentioned, that communication is not encrypted by default. Now, there are some steps that you can take to protect yourself against exit nodes or the lack of encryption at exit nodes. The first one being HTTPS everywhere, and this feature is built into the Tor browser by default, but it only works if websites have an HTTPS version or a secure version of their website. Additionally, another thing you can do is always make sure that your communications are encrypted. For example, don't send an email unless it's an encrypted email. For example, using Proton Mail as an option. There's other options out there, but that's just an example. Also, don't say or do anything that would identify you as the user. Even if your information is intercepted, they still not necessarily may be able to link it back to you because of the concealment of your true IP. But if you're saying your true name or true address or phone number, stuff like that, obviously they're going to be able to track it back to you. So basically what I'm saying is you're not invincible when using Tor because of the potential threat at those exit nodes or the potential threat of a bad actor, someone intercepting those communications at that point when it's no longer encrypted. Now let's talk about VPNs. There are several pros with using a VPN. Number one, it's faster. It's a lot faster than using Tor. Really, no matter what VPN service you pick, your location, your internet service provider, a VPN is almost always going to be faster. Additionally, for the most part, you're not going to run into as many problems as far as websites working correctly. There are some rare occasions where that does happen, but for the most part, the user experience when visiting websites is going to be much, much better with a VPN. Additionally, with a VPN, you can pick specifically your location, and this can be very useful if you're trying to gain access to information or sites that are normally restricted in your area. Having that ability to pick a specific location is not available in Tor. Additionally, a VPN is very, very useful when securing an unsecure Wi-Fi connection. For example, if you're using a public Wi-Fi, you definitely want to use a VPN with that because it encrypts all the information going to and from your computer, so it helps protect you against any bad actors that may also be on that public network. Additionally, it can help protect against throttling, or in other words, it can help prevent your internet service provider from throttling your internet service, but there is some debate about how effective that is. Because all of the data going to and from your computer is encrypted, if your internet service provider wants to throttle YouTube, they're not going to know when you're on YouTube because it's encrypted. But there are other ways to kind of identify what it is the user is doing through data analysis and common sense. So it kind of comes into a debate. But overall, my opinion is it does help, and I would still recommend using a VPN to help prevent throttling from your internet service provider. Another big pro or benefit of using a VPN versus Tor is that a VPN protects against all applications or all web browsers. All of them will reap the benefits of using that VPN connection. When you're using Tor, it's limited to just the Tor browser. Or, for example, if you're using Brave, because the Brave browser does have Tor available in it, it's just limited to that one tab that you have for the Tor connection, or the tab that's connected to the Tor network. When you're using a VPN service, again, it applies to every application on the computer, so it's a much broader range of protection. Now, some cons that do come up is, number one, VPN services are not free. Number two, now let's be clear, a VPN service does help with anonymity or keeping the user anonymous, but it's nowhere as good as with Tor. It does replace your IP address. It encrypts the data going to and from your computer. All of this helps protect against tracking from your ISP and advertisers and websites. But because you're working with an organization, a paid service, it basically comes down to trust. How much can you trust that service not to give up information about you? Now, there are some steps you can take as far as limiting how much your VPN provider knows about you, such as paying in Bitcoin, only accessing your account when using Tor in the first place, only linking it to a private email account such as Proton Mail, and only using Proton Mail with Tor. So there's lots of steps you can take, but those can only go so far. And even though virtually every VPN service markets a no logging policy, that no logging policy is always open to interpretation, and VPN services have been caught multiple times logging. And so a major con with VPNs is that level of trust. Can you really trust your VPN not to give up information about you, whether to advertisers, governments, oppressive governments, or anyone else? It's a huge trust issue that you don't have to deal with in Tor. So in short, if your main objective or priority is anonymity, go with Tor. Pretty much any other situation or goal, I would go with a VPN. Most users should use a VPN. It's just when you absolutely need to stay anonymous, that is when I would recommend Tor. Now let's get to the idea of using both together, because that is an option. You can use Tor and a VPN together, and there are two options when it comes to doing that combination. The first one is called Tor over VPN, and that is where you connect to the VPN service first and then connect to Tor. And there's many benefits to doing this. Number one is your ISP cannot see when you're using Tor. If you use Tor just by itself, your ISP can monitor and see when you're using Tor, and there's a bit of a debate about whether that can be a threat or not. It kind of depends on your location, but basically using a VPN first and then connecting to Tor can eliminate that threat. Additionally, when you use Tor over VPN, again, when you connect to a VPN first, you can gain access to Tor where it is blocked. There are some regions or countries where the Tor network is blocked. If you use a VPN service first and then use Tor, once you get access to it, that does help. Additionally, no Tor node will ever see your home IP address. When you first get onto Tor, that very first node, that very first relay, does see your true home IP address unless you're using a VPN. So that does help increase security and privacy if you connect to a VPN first and then to the Tor network. Additionally, your VPN will not be able to see what you are doing in Tor. So that concern with trust with the VPN, it gets eliminated if you're using Tor, because your VPN again will not be able to see what it is that you're doing in the Tor network. And last, using a VPN with Tor can protect against any bugs that do develop or can be exploited in the Tor network or in the Tor browser itself. So it adds an extra layer of security that you definitely want to have just in case those bugs do come up, and that does happen. So it's a very big security boost, a very big benefit to use a VPN first and then access Tor. Now that's the first option, and the first option is what I would recommend for most users. In fact, a lot of VPN services now provide that as an option in their applications, in their actual VPN application. But there is a second option called VPN over Tor, which basically in this case you connect to Tor first, then the VPN service. Now, while this setup does make it impossible for the exit node to see your traffic, which is where it is unencrypted like we talked about earlier, it is now the VPN service that is able to see your traffic again. So really, I don't see any major benefits of using VPN over Tor. Again, for most users, I would just recommend using the first option. Any benefit you get as far as protection at the exit node, you can get that by using HTTPS anywhere or just using encrypted communications or common sense. And so I don't think for most users the second option is one that you should really use. That's everything for this video. I hope that clarifies as far as when you should use Tor and when you should use a VPN service. But if you do have any questions, please post them down below. Thank you very much for watching again, and I hope you have a great day.